Take it easy, and I'll see you in the shed. Oof. Bass dudes and dudettes, hopefully you're having a wicked day out there. It is a fantastic, fantabulous day here in Leeds today, and it's ready to get into the low end. So we all want to play fast, right? We've all seen those players and we're like, how are they playing that fast? Am I playing super messy? I want to play like them. Yeah, you've been there before, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and I'm going to give you 3 top tips to help you play faster lines on the bass. Tip number 1 is when you're playing an ascending line, okay, playing up the instrument, you've got to play with alternate fingers on the plucking hand. It can't be index, index, middle, index, middle, middle, index, you know, it's got to be really regimented, okay? So index, middle, 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 index. Okay, it's got to be that way. So make sure every time you play a scale or an arpeggio or a pentatonic or any of those shenanigans, when you're ascending those, you've got to do it with alternate fingers, right? Now, a little tip for this is when you're practicing it, make sure you verbalize which finger you're using, as I just have done, right? Index, middle, or I am, I am, I am. It's a really, really simple way to check that when you get to the end of the line that you're playing, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I. When you get to the end of the line, you can check and think, yeah, wicked. It worked out. Now, tip number 2 is when you are descending, okay? So coming down the instrument, because they're 2 completely different movements. When we're ascending through a scale or an arpeggio, it's a completely different physical movement from when we're descending. And we need to treat it as such. We need to practice each of these things individually. It's not just good or bad technique. Your technique is made up of multiple parts, okay? It's made up of multiple parts. So when you're descending, you need to practice it as a separate entity, but really to get some serious speed. When you're descending, you want to master raking or economy picking. So, but all this means is when you're crossing strings, you use the same finger twice as you're crossing the string, okay? So if I was coming down a C major scale, I'm going to play index, index, so on the G and the D, index, index, middle, index, index, middle, index, index, middle. So you double up on whichever finger you're crossing the string with. And you can do it with the middle finger as well, same line. Middle, middle, index, middle, middle, index, middle, middle, index. And you should be able to do both. Here we go, with the index, okay, with the middle. Same thing, right? Now, tip number 3 is speed bursts, okay? And this is where we take groupings of notes and practice playing those fast and then ramp up those groupings of notes into bigger groupings, okay? So you can start with, say, a grouping of 3. Let's take a C major scale here, but start it on the note B, and we're going to play B, C, D. That's a grouping of 3, right? So we just go. Great. Okay, now we want to make that a grouping of 4. We want to add 1 note in. The 1 note we're adding in is the E, okay, so it's going to go. Then we're going to add in the F, the next note. Now when you get to that F, for a lot of you, your technique's going to start getting a bit weird and you're going to be thinking, that isn't as comfortable. And the key thing here is you want to play exactly the same speed. You don't want to start going. You want to play it quite fast. About that speed, okay? Get comfortable, then add in that 4th note. Then the 5th note. Now, to get to that 5th note might take you a few days, it might take you a week, it might take you 2 weeks. Take your time, get comfortable with whichever grouping you're working on, whether it be 3, the 4, or the 5, okay? Then add that note in. And as you add the note in, for a lot of you, as I said, your technique's going to start to shake, right? And the reason is because string crossing down here is where pretty much everybody's technique starts to fall to bits. That's the demon, right, that we look out for. When we can all go. Great. But when we start going, and putting all those notes in, that's when problems start to happen. And by the time you get up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like a grouping of 10, a lot of you are going to have real problems, okay? So that's why we do these in groupings. Groupings of 3, groupings of 4, groupings of 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, grouping of 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure there's a bit of daylight between each grouping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Have a rest in between each one. Now 7. Now by the time you get to that 7th note there, whoa, a lot of you are going to have issues. Again, it's because you're crossing strings. And that's why doing these groupings gives your body the chance to get used to the movement. So if you get to a grouping of 6 and you're feeling like super shaky, start looking at the plucking hand and thinking, what the heck's going on here? Is it my thumb that's just stuck in one place? Do I need to move it? Am I playing with alternate fingers? What is going on? We need to become really great at problem solving. We need to identify where the problem area is, which is obviously, as we're doing a grouping of 6 or a grouping of 7, it will reveal itself to us. Okay, it's when we're crossing strings. We've identified the problem, then we need to find a solution for the problem. We need to come up with an exercise, and this speed burst exercise is a great way to fix that, okay? Because it helps you identify the problem, and then you just, when you get, say it's like 7 notes and you start having that issue, sit on doing that 7-note grouping for like a week or so, okay? And it's soon going to start working its way out. Your body, your motor cortex up here is a really, really clever piece of kit, and we've all got it, right? But we need to give it a chance to flexing its muscles a little. I haven't got many muscles. Flexing its muscles a little bit, right? And getting into it. Okay, guys, so that is the 3 top tips today to get you playing faster on the bass. If you want to take your technique to the next level, hopefully you do so, because your technique is the fundamental foundation to your bass playing. If you get your technique wrong, everything on top of it is going to be shaky, so you need to get it right. I've actually opened enrollment for my 26-week Technique Accelerator program, where you can study with me every single week for 26 weeks. It's going to be pretty intense. But not so intense, because you get a brand new lesson every single week for 26 weeks. And within that lesson, which is generally 30 minutes to an hour long, within each lesson, you get 4 specific exercises, okay? 4 very specific exercises. And the whole program is based on practicing 20 minutes a day. So if you've got 20 minutes a day to spare over the next 26 weeks, you can completely change your bass playing and rock your world, rock my world at the same time. So guys, if you want to check it out, I'll put the link below. It closes for enrollment super soon. The last time I opened it for enrollment was nearly a year ago. And the next time I open it will be obviously in a year's time, right? So if you want to get in on it, click the link and check it out. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, obviously hit your notifications on and subscribe, so next time we release one of these bad boys, you get notified. And if you want to find out more about me and what I do and the team here, go to scottsbasslessons.com and check it out. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the shed.